So here we're going to look at regular and diffuse reflection and look at some objects, some examples of regular and diffuse reflectors, and then look at some diagrams to show what it is. So on this side, regular reflectors, and on this side, diffuse reflectors. Okay, now regular reflectors, in fact, well, both are reflectors, but what defines something that is a regular reflector and something that is a diffuse reflector is the surface of the object. Now, if I take something like a mirror, and you can see that is reflecting images from around me. There you go, there's the camera. The regular reflector is something like a mirror, and what that means is that on a very, very small scale, the mirror is flat, which means light rays that come into it relative to each other all reflect off at the same angle. So it doesn't matter where light rays hit on the surface, they're all reflecting off a flat surface, and you'll see that come out more in the diagram. Now, the difference with a diffuse reflector, and I've got, in fact, there's another regular reflector, so that's another example of a mirror. But diffuse reflectors is anything that reflects light, but you can't see an image in it. So here I've got a post-it note. So you can see it's reflecting light, and you know it's reflecting light because you wouldn't see it if it wasn't. So light is coming from outside over there, it's reflecting off this, going into the camera, but not in a way that you can see an image in it. So if I hold the two sort of side by side, you know, you can see an image in the mirror, you can see sort of reflection through the window, there's the sky, you see light, but in the post-it note you can't see it. So off the post-it note you've got diffuse reflection. If I hold the post-it note really close to the camera, this might work, you can see the surface of it is quite grainy, it's quite bumpy. It's not quite focusing there now. Anyway, it's quite grainy, quite bumpy, and what that means is the light isn't reflecting off in a regular way. Other examples, so we've got the post-it note, there's a magnet. Again, you can see it, light is reflecting off it, and there's a bit of a reflection, but not in a way you can actually really see the image in it. What else have we got? A bit of an aloe vera leaf. There you go, so you can see a bit of a sort of shine, you can see the light reflecting off it, but not in a way that you can see an image. Bit of masking tape coming off. Again, you can see it, light is reflecting off it, but you cannot see an image on it, even on the shiny side. Okay, so why is this? I'm going to leave the post-it note and aloe vera leaf as our examples there. Just a few bits falling off the aloe vera. So the diagrams. Now, for the regular reflector, I'm going to need to draw a flat line. Now, in fact, what I should have done is done it this way, and I'll show you why. This is a mirror, and when you draw a mirror, it's easier to do it this way because then you can just draw the hash lines like this. You don't need to worry too much about getting them lined up with the main line you've drawn. Okay. Now, regular reflection, that's easy. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to mark 3 points, 1, 2, 3, and I'm going to use a protractor to measure from this point 50 degrees in, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 50 degrees out. From this point, 50 degrees in, 50 degrees out, and from this point, degrees in, 50 degrees out. And now I just need to connect these up. So first incident ray, second incident ray, third incident ray, and the reflection from that. First incident ray, second incident ray, third incident ray. Now, a condition of all of these reflections is that they are following the law of reflection. So at this point here, because we measured it with the protractor, if we drew a normal and we did an instant reflected ray, we know that they are meeting the law of reflection. So arrows to show instant ray coming in, reflected ray going out again, and that is your regular reflection. So you can see all the rays coming in at the same angle reflect sort of in the same pattern. So you had 3 coming in all parallel, you got 3 going out all parallel. Okay. So that is your diagram for regular reflectors. Now, the diffuse reflector. We are not going to draw the hash lines because the diffuse reflector is not a mirror, as you can see. So what I'm going to do is draw a sort of bumpy surface, a bit like that. Now, the way the diffuse reflector works is in the same way. Over here I drew my 3 rays. What I'm going to do is draw 3 rays which are all parallel. I'm just using the ruler to by eye make sure that they are parallel. Just making sure they come in. Okay, now what you can see here is the problem is that the 3 rays are hitting the surface, but because the surface is a little bit bumpy, they're not going to reflect in a regular way like this one's done. And you can see that with the materials. See, the light comes in at a certain angle, reflects out in the same way. So the image in the mirror, while it's laterally inverted, you can still see the image there. Whereas over here, you can see these are going to start scattering off, hence the diffuse materials like the post-it, even the paper, the aloe vera leaf, they're just going to reflect off sort of in any direction. But we must make sure the law of reflection is being followed here. So what I'm going to do is to help with that, I'm going to use my protractor to do a bit of a sort of tangent here. So that's at about 19 degrees. So that one's going to reflect off that way. Now this one is a little bit trickier. So that is coming in about there. So in fact, that ray is going to reflect off the surface a bit like that. And then it's going to reflect again. So that's coming off at about 32, so 10, 20, 30. So that's going to come off about that way. If I draw those on. So that one's going that way. That one's then coming off that way. And this one, so 10, 20, 30, 3.5, 10, 20, 30. Right on the corner of the paper there. So I'm making sure with this that the law of reflection is being followed. Now the 3 incoming rays, you can see there, are all parallel, but the outgoing rays are not parallel. Okay, now a way I can help distinguish these, it's a little trick. So with the number of arrows, first ray, second ray, third ray, 3 arrows, first ray, second ray, third ray, just a little sort of trick to help identify them. Okay, so that's your two diagrams, and just to recap, regular reflectors, you can see the image clearly in them, and that is because the surface is completely flat. 3 incoming rays leave with the same pattern but in a different direction. Diffuse reflectors still reflecting, and that's how you see the light. Light is reflecting off them, but the light is reflecting not in the same pattern as what it came in as. Okay, so the image is sort of distorted, it's all scattered, the light's scattered everywhere, so we can still see the light rays but no image in the object. Okay, and you can draw your own version of this diagram, and a screenshot of that might be quite nice as well. In fact, what I'm going to do is label this in case you do want to do that. So that is a plane mirror, and these are diffuse reflectors. I'm going to check the spelling of aloe vera leaf. As I thought. Okay.